Watching us on breakfast this morning, what will you be doing with your television? Turning it off completely, or, like most people, just switching it to standby?
According to a new study, if you regularly leave household appliances on standby, you could be adding more than £80 a year to your bill. So how else can we save money? We asked energy-saving expert Knowles.
Okay, so we're here in the kitchen, which is a really important room. It consumes a huge amount of your electricity, around about 80%. And if you look at the microwave, you can see why. There's around about 50 watts, even on standby alone. If there's one way in which you can reduce your electricity bill the most in your home, it's looking at your old fridge and freezer. You could be saving as much as £100 a year by buying a new eco version, because these are the biggest consumers in the kitchen. Boiling a kettle uses a large amount of energy in a very short period of time. Your kettle at home heats up to 100 degrees and then sits there boiling, using energy all the while. I have a very special kettle here. It has a temperature readout, and this enables me to stop the temperature at 85 degrees. And this is fantastic for saving energy and still makes a great cup of tea.
So, what's your breakfast this morning? Will you switch your television off or maybe leave it on standby? If you choose to leave it on standby, you could be adding pounds to your electricity bill.
Because that's according to a new study from the Energy Saving Trust and the government. Let's talk to Knowles. He's an energy saving expert. And joining us from Westminster, the Environment Minister, Lord Taylor. Very good morning to you both. Knowles, most people switch things to standby, I imagine, probably because they're worried about losing information or settings. I mean, if you can't switch your phone off completely if you're using it as your alarm clock, for instance. Sure. But should we be turning things off completely?
It will save electricity if you turn items off. It's an obvious solution to saving bills, but whether it's the biggest thing you could do in the home to save energy is a very different question.
Right, OK, so what is the biggest thing you could do?
Well, 80% of your electricity is actually consumed in a kitchen, so your big focus should be there. I mean, it's the big household appliances that matter more than anything. So there's a few kind of lifestyle tips that you could use to save energy very, very easily.
Give us the top three.
There's items like washing up. A lot of people think that washing up in a bowl or by hand is an environmental thing to do. Actually, it's the contrary. If you've got a very modern dishwasher, you can use less water than a single flush of a toilet, or less energy than a couple of boils on the kettle to wash 13 place settings. So that's a nice little hint. Get a new and more efficient dishwasher. But there's also there's items like tumble drying. Most people say, "Oh, just don't tumble dry." Well, that's unrealistic for the viewers at home. They usually are interested in swift drying. They might have babies, lots of clothes. So what I say is take the top 3 items in terms of size. Like you always have a towel, a bed sheet, a duvet cover. Take those 3 and hang it up, because that takes as much time as hanging up 3 baby items. But they're completely different size. Put the rest of the load in the dryer, so that dries quickly, and it's not the fiddle of hanging everything up. But you probably save more than half the energy on drying.
It's very interesting, Lord Taylor. I mean, what's emerged this morning, and possibly no one will be surprised by this, lots of people getting in touch with us with fantastic tips that people do take energy saving very seriously in their home, and they go to great lengths. They might be a bit frustrated that they're doing all that work and the energy companies keep on rising prices, and apparently the government doesn't do anything about it, because that is the biggest cost, isn't it? The rising cost of energy.
Of course, we can't control that, but what we can do is to make sure that we use our energy more efficiently. And coming back to the point that Kit was making and looking at the situation in the home, our study has found that a typical household can save between 50 and 80 to 85 pounds just by switching off and not leaving things on standby. Your television left on standby, the computer, the printer left on standby. Switch those off, and it's surprising what you can save and how you can cut your energy bill.
Just out of curiosity, does the House of Commons go dark at night?
I'm in the House of Lords, of course, and I think our end is usually pretty well switched off. I certainly switch off all the lights in my office before I go home.
So at night time, if I go into the Houses of Parliament, I mean, is it dark in there when it doesn't need... Well, I mean, what is the situation there?
Well, actually, I have been in there when the house is closed down, and most of the lights are switched off. There are some lights left on for security reasons, but the majority are switched off.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the issue is that's exactly the point, isn't it? We need to look to those telling us that we are supposed to be saving energy to be saving energy themselves, or the other point, as people have been telling us, putting pressure on the energy companies. Now, you say the government can't do anything about that, but people can take energy saving advice from people sitting on our sofa, and they look to you to tell the energy companies, come on, keep the costs down.
Yeah, well, we do that. And of course, we have Ofgem, which actually deals exactly with that issue on behalf of government and behalf of consumers in general. But the point I'm trying to make is some savings can be made by us as individuals in our own homes, domestically, just by being more sensible about how we use electricity. And this is better for the green economy. Now, I'm going from here to meet with energy companies, manufacturers and academics at the Science Museum. We've got a conference on there. And we are trying to persuade industry and the energy companies that we need to build in smart energy use into all the products that we use. And this is surely the future.
Can I just ask,
this study has been really valuable,
yes,
I think.
Yeah, can I just ask Kit, I mean, one really useful thing would be if the manufacturers didn't put standby as an option, because that would mean you couldn't do it.
It's been considered for years, actually. It's a very interesting point. The convenience of being able to switch something off from your couch is the overriding factor, I think.
Well, Lord Taylor, is that something you'll say? Just get rid of standby?
No, I can see why standby is still built in, but whether one has a limit on the time that standby actually persists, some electrical goods don't need a standby mode, but I think most of us could switch off at the mains when we've finished watching television at night. It's a very simple thing, but it might save us £50, £80 a year if we did just that.
Lord Taylor, thanks very much indeed, Kit. Thank you.
No problem. Time now 7:53. The Royal Bank of Scotland has said that people won't be left out of pocket by what they're calling a technical glitch affecting millions of customers. Steph, tell us a little more.
Yes, good morning to you both. A headache that's continuing for our